Before the MTV revolution changed everything, before rock became stadium spectacle, the 1970s belonged to FM radio, turntables spinning vinyl, and voices that could stop you cold in your tracks. Some of those voices belonged to women who rocked just as hard, wrote just as deep, and disappeared far too soon from our collective memory. Let's bring them back, starting with number 10. Number 10, Fanny Caulfield, bassist and founding member of Fanny.
I had a dream, you were in it.
The first all-female rock band to release an album on a major label. Reprise Records signed them in 1970, and David Bowie himself called them one of the most important rock bands in America. They could shred, harmonize, and write hooks that rival anything coming out of Laurel Canyon. Their self-titled debut featured blistering guitar work and tight grooves that impressed everyone from Todd Rundgren to Bonnie Raitt. But radio wouldn't take them seriously. Promoters booked them as novelties, and by 1975 they'd broken up, exhausted from fighting for respect they'd already earned. Number 9, Suzi Quatro, the Detroit-born leather-clad rocker who became a superstar in Europe while America barely noticed. In 1973, Can the Can hit number 1 in the UK, Australia, and across Europe, selling over 2.5 million copies worldwide. She played bass like a weapon, snarled like Iggy Pop, and looked like she'd kick down your door just to prove a point. Produced by Nicky Chin and Mike Chapman, her sound was glam rock with a raw edge that predated Joan Jett by nearly a decade. American radio ignored her, but across the Atlantic, she filled arenas and inspired a generation of women to pick up instruments and refuse to apologize. Number 8, Maggie Bell, the Scottish powerhouse whose voice could make Led Zeppelin jealous.
I got my head against the window.
Robert Plant reportedly called her his favorite female rock singer, and Jimmy Page almost produced her solo album. Before going solo, she fronted Stone the Crows, a blues rock band that combined Janis Joplin's raw emotion with a British edge that cut through the early 70s rock scene like lightning. Their 1970 album Ode to John Law showcased Bell's ability to wail, whisper, and command a stage. Tragedy struck when guitarist Les Harvey was electrocuted on stage in 1972, and though Bell continued recording, she never achieved the widespread recognition her talent deserved. Number 7, Annette Peacock, the experimental rock pioneer who made synthesizers sing before anyone knew what to do with them.
Rise and shine. This prison door is fabric.
Working with Robert Moog himself in the late 60s and early 70s, Peacock was among the first to use the Moog synthesizer as a lead instrument in rock music. Her 1972 album, I'm the One, blended jazz, rock, and electronic music into something that sounded like it came from another dimension. Critics noted her voice could shift from ethereal to confrontational in seconds. David Bowie covered her song I'm the One and reportedly drew inspiration from her genre-bending approach, but Peacock remained underground too, ahead of her time for mainstream radio to comprehend. If you're loving this trip through forgotten records, hit subscribe. We've got more stories from rock's golden age coming every week. Number 6, Karen Dalton, the folk blues singer whose voice sounded like heartbreak distilled into sound.
Man, I'm craving.
She never wanted fame, rarely performed, and hated recording studios. But her 1971 album, In My Own Time, became a cult classic that influenced everyone from Lucinda Williams to Devendra Banhart. Nick Cave called her voice one of the most soulful he'd ever heard, a raw instrument that could make you feel every cigarette, every late night, every mile traveled on dusty roads. She sang old blues standards and contemporary folk with equal authority, but by the late 70s, she'd retreated from music entirely, living on the margins until her death in 1993. Number 5, let's talk about the actual forgotten woman, Isis, the all-female hard rock band fronted by Carol McDonald. Leslie West's collaborator and Mountain's unsung hero, Corky Laing's partner in West, Bruce and Laing. No, wait. Signed to Buddha Records in 1974, Isis delivered crunching guitar riffs, Hammond organ swells, and vocals that could compete with any male-dominated rock station playlist. Their debut album featured production from the team behind Three Dog Night and showcased songs like She Ain't Got Time, which critics praised for its muscular sound and unapologetic attitude. Despite positive reviews and solid musicianship, radio programmers didn't know how to market a female band that didn't fit the soft rock mold, and they disbanded after just 2 albums. Number 4, Judee Sill, the Baroque pop songwriter who opened for Cat Stevens and Poco.
But their gifts looked green. I'm tired of hanging on.
Then vanished before most people learned her name. Her self-titled 1971 debut on David Geffen's Asylum Records featured orchestral arrangements, complex harmonies, and spiritual lyrics that felt both medieval and modern. Songs like Jesus Was a Crossmaker and The Lamb Ran Away with the Crown showcased her ability to blend Christian mysticism with California singer-songwriter intimacy. By most accounts, she was a perfectionist who struggled with addiction and industry indifference. Her second album, Heart Food, is considered a masterpiece by critics today, but it sold poorly in 1973, and Sill retreated from music, dying in obscurity in 1979.
Number 3, Bobby McGee. No, not the song. We're talking about Ellen McIlwaine, the slide guitar virtuoso who could make a Stratocaster weep, scream, and testify all in one solo. Airing in Japan and seasoned in Atlanta's blues clubs, McIlwaine played slide guitar in open tunings that rivaled Duane Allman and Ry Cooder, yet her name rarely appears in Guitar Hero conversations. Her 1972 album, Honky Tonk Angel, blended blues, rock, and a touch of psychedelia with a vocal range that could go from sultry to ferocious in seconds. Critics noted her version of sliding showcased technical mastery that should have made her a legend. But as a woman with a sound too bluesy for rock radio and too rock for blues purists, she fell between the cracks, touring relentlessly but never breaking through commercially. Number 2, Wendy Waldman, the songwriter's songwriter who penned hits for others while her own records gathered dust.
Sometimes the sun goes round the moon.
Her 1973 debut Love Has Got Me on Warner Brothers showcased immaculate piano work, literary lyrics, and a voice that could shift from vulnerability to strength, like clouds moving across the sun. Maria Muldaur, Vanessa Williams, and the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band all recorded her songs, and Nashville eventually recognized her genius, awarding her numerous credits and accolades. But in the 70s, when she was writing and performing her own material, radio preferred her songs sung by someone else, leaving Waldman as the architect behind hits she never got to claim as her own in the public eye. And number 1, Joan Armatrading, the British singer-songwriter whose voice and guitar work rivaled anyone in the 70s rock pantheon, yet somehow remains underappreciated in America. Astonished, her 1976 self-titled album produced by Glyn Johns, the same engineer behind The Who, Led Zeppelin, and the Eagles, featured Love and Affection, a song that climbed the UK charts and showcased her ability to blend folk, rock, soul, and reggae into something entirely her own. Her guitar tone was crystalline and percussive, her lyrics brutally honest about love, loss, and identity. Critics praised her as one of the most important songwriters of the decade. Despite consistent critical acclaim and a devoted fan base, American rock radio never fully embraced her, perhaps because she didn't fit neatly into any format. Or perhaps because the industry couldn't figure out how to market a black British woman who wrote like Bob Dylan and played like Mark Knopfler. But for those who discovered her, Joan Armatrading represented everything rock and roll promised: authenticity, innovation, and a refusal to compromise. These 10 women didn't just participate in 70s rock, they shaped it, challenged it, and expanded what rock and roll could be. They faced industry gatekeepers who couldn't imagine women as guitar heroes, radio programmers who wouldn't take chances, and audiences conditioned to expect rock to look and sound a certain way. But they left behind records that still sound vital today, songs that still hit just as hard, and legacies that deserve to be remembered alongside the men who filled stadiums and dominated album charts. Some found recognition later in life, some never did, but all of them proved that rock and roll belonged to anyone brave enough to plug in and play. The vinyl might be worn, the concert posters faded, but the music remains, waiting for anyone willing to drop the needle and listen. Which song hit you hardest today? Drop your memories in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the decades that changed music forever.